Hey everyone, welcome to Ian and Friends Vuelta Espana edition. I am FloBikes senior editor Ian Dille.
And I am Michael Sheehan, Ian's friend. Today we saw the Vuelta, stage 13, really the first of three big mountain days for the weekend. What happened?
A huge breakaway, 32 riders off the front. I mean, this Vuelta has just been kind of all over the place with the breakaways. Breakaways seem to do whatever they want in this race. And then, all the kind of breakaway stars. Thomas de Gendt was in there. American Ben King was in there. And, basically racing towards the final climb of today's stage, the first of three summit finishes in a row, and the action really didn't start until about 3K into the climb. But we should mention that the King of the Mountains competition, which is really, it's hotting up a little bit.
Yes, so Ben King, the American who's had a phenomenal Vuelta so far, he is sitting second overall. He picked up a couple more mountains points today just being in the breakaway. Thomas de Gendt was very keen on the mountains points though, and he took full points on the first two climbs. There were three climbs today. There's a Cat 3 climb, which really just served as a springboard for the day's breakaway to go clear, and then it was two Category 1 climbs later in the day, with really the whole stage just boiling down to the final climb.
Yeah, and this part of northern Spain, as we saw in the Tour of the Basque Country, is known for just these ridiculously short, steep climb. So, this finishing climb was only 3 kilometers long, but almost 14% in gradient. And it kind of looked like, everybody was, really kind of keeping reserves until they hit this climb. That's only a little under 2 miles long. But it had a pretty big impact on the GC. What was interesting was to see Movistar on the front of this race. They've been on the front of this Vuelta a España a lot, even though they haven't had the leader's jersey. Yeah. They're racing this race like it's theirs to lose.
And rightly so. They have two guys sitting in the top 5 overall, Alejandro Valverde and Nairo Quintana. They both look like they are two of the best riders in the race. Like, they feasibly could both finish on the podium at the end of the Tour. So Movistar, they really kind of, they let Cofidis ride, but Movistar was always there keeping tabs on this 32-rider breakaway, making sure that nothing got out of hand, and that really Quintana was set up for the finish. He has won on this finishing climb the last time he raced it. It is just so steep, and it's really the kind of climb that only someone who is so small and powerful like Nairo Quintana is on these climbs. It's just perfect for him.
Yeah, and in the breakaway, Rafael Maica is somebody who came to this race kind of as maybe Bora's second GC hope. It seemed like they were really riding this race for Emmanuel Buchmann. But he's a GC guy in his own right. Today he was in the breakaway, and he was the first to really put it to the break once the pitches got steep. And this climb was so steep, we didn't see a lot of attacks, riders dropping bombs on the climb. It was really just sort of like trying to get to the top. Who could try to get to the top the fastest without falling over?
Yeah, just one of those climbs that when they say you just have to ride your own pace up this climb, this is one of those climbs. There's not really any attacking. It's just some people can handle a steep grade better than others. And yeah, so it really looked like it was going to be Rafael Maica taking the win out of the breakaway. He attacked, was pushing it along with Enric Mas for quick step, but Maica ended up getting away with about 1.5 kilometers to go. But it was really the
Oscar Rodriguez,
the Euskadi rider, pro-continental rider, Oscar Rodriguez, who bridged up to Dylan Tans and Rafael Maica and then proceeded to just drop them. We are thinking maybe he had a much lighter gear on his bike because the cadence that he was turning over was much, much higher than really the slogging that a lot of the other riders were doing.
And it was definitely the fact that he had lighter gears is why he won the stage. Not at all him being a better bike racer, but to give him a little bit of credence, it was super impressive. I mean, he didn't give up. I mean, having 2 World Tour riders up the road, this is a 23-year-old guy, to chase down Rafael Maica and Dylan Teuns, who are big names in the sport. pass them and, win on home soil. He's only 23 years old, first professional win. Obviously, the biggest win of his career.
This is
it's
the
phenomenal.
first Grand Tour he has ever competed in.
Yeah.
So I think that really says a lot. This is by far and away the biggest race that Rodriguez has competed in, and he just got a massive stage win. And really, watching the way he climbed, it was classy. Just high cadence on such steep grades. It was really impressive.
Yeah, and even in the field, we saw the riders pushing big gears. I mean, in this day and age, with all the knowledge that we have about course recon, I mean, this is a climb, the Camperona, that Quintana won the last time the race finished on this climb. And the gearing options out there today, you can put a 31 tooth gear on the new Durace cassettes. Why are they not riding the lightest gear possible? It kind of blows my mind.
I think that the trend is going towards one by. Is that too soon?
One by with a 36 tooth chainring up front.
Perfect, yeah. Okay, anyway, so that's how the breakaway shaped up. Then we go down the road about 2.5 minutes back to the GC favorites, and it was Nairo Quintana who've really made good on his team's effort throughout the whole day. Him and Simon Yates were the quickest up the climb, and they were really just riding next to each other.
What a slog, man! I mean, they were almost, even though they were going at their absolute limit, it almost looked like a group ride with your buddy, where you're just riding side by side. It was so interesting to see them riding shoulder to shoulder. And just slogging their way up the climb. I mean, it wasn't until the final pitches of this climb where Quintana gapped Yates just a little bit, but Yates didn't see really anything.
Yeah, it was really just the last 50 meters Quintana put in an acceleration, and I think he was honestly expecting Yates to make a bid for the sprint because Yates got into the drops, and he would be the punchiest rider of the two at the finish, but I think that Yates just had a really, really good poker face on for the last couple kilometers because he was obviously really hurting. In the last 50 meters or so, Yates ended up conceding 6 seconds to Quintana. So Quintana just chipped in a good little bit to the deficit that he was running at the start of the day.
And, there's so much racing yet to come, not only this weekend, but the whole rest of this Vuelta. Like we said, this is the first of 3 summit finishes in a row. Tuesday, there's a rest day, then Tuesday is the time trial. And then next Saturday, the penultimate day of the entire Vuelta is, ostensibly the hardest stage of this entire race. It's like 100K with 4 mountain passes in it. So I think, Yates and maybe other teams are, maybe looking at some of the mistakes, especially that Mitchelton Scott made during the Giro, and, backing off, conserving a little bit. It didn't look like they were really throwing down the gauntlet on today's stage.
Yeah, I think that all the racers really have a mind for what is to come in the next 2 days. So let's take a look at that.
Yeah, so tomorrow is kind of a replay of what we saw today. Another finishing climb. This one's, a half kilometer longer, 3.4 kilometers at 12.7%. So just another monster climb to finish the stage. I think the difference is that, we've got, 3 similarly steep, punchy climbs leading into it, where today we only had one Category 1 climb a far ways out from the finish. So.
Yeah, we have a quick succession of climbs tomorrow. There are going to be 5 categorized climbs. 4 of them really come in the closing stages of the race. So I think that we're going to see a little bit more active racing from a lot of the GC riders, guys who are hoping to make time on the climbs. Really, this is one of the big opportunities of the whole tour. Really what remains to be seen is how hard people want to go tomorrow and risk leaving a little bit in the tank or not for Sunday's stage, which is another bear of a climbing day.
And Sunday is, a queen stage at the Vuelta. The Lagos de Covadonga is, a climb that's been used 21 times in the Vuelta, only since 1983. So, it's a really historic climb. It's sort of the Vuelta's answer to the Alpe d'Huez, or some of the monumental climbs of the Grand Tours. Just a stunning ascent, above the tree line, rock-strewn summit, these beautiful glacial lakes at the top. It's just going to be a phenomenal show. So I think a lot of the riders are, saving something in the tank, and I don't think there's going to be a 32 rider breakaway that goes up the road on Sunday. I think the GC guys are going to be looking to have that climb as a feather in their cap. Quintana was the last one to win the race finished on Covadonga, so it'll be interesting to see kind of how tomorrow goes and then what we see on Sunday.
Yeah, either way, we are expecting fireworks in the mountains. Please tune in to FloBikes.com, watch the race. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, we will see you soon.